Hi everyone, Rene Bastarache with the American School of Hypnosis, and we have down here below, you can see Raluca with the American School of Hypnosis, and we have as a guest today, Tina Pineiro coming with us from Tina Pineiro Hypnosis. She has offices in Manhattan, Long Island, and Honesdale, Pennsylvania. So, hi Tina, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
What I'd like to do is, oops, we're going back and forth with the pictures here. What I'd like to do is ask you to take a few minutes to tell us about yourself and what you do.
Sure, my pleasure. I do hypnosis. My main place is Honesdale, Pennsylvania. I do hypnosis sessions here. I do have a place in Manhattan and a place on Long Island where I do them, as well as corporates. And in Honesdale, I do teach hypnosis as well.
Great. Now, I was looking at your webpage, and you have a pretty impressive webpage. And if you see me going all over, I have actually a couple screens I'm looking at. Your webpage is over there, and my notes are over there, and you're over here. So I kind of never know where I am. But I'm looking at your webpage. You got a wonderful-looking webpage, but you have a lot of services you offer. So why don't you tell me a little bit about the different kinds of services that you have?
And when you are saying services, you mean for the different things for hypnosis or different types of services like corporate and things like that? Is that
Bingo.
what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
I like to offer, I want everybody to experience hypnosis. I want everybody to see its benefits and kind of use it first because it's non-invasive and all that. So I really try to get it out there as much as I can and do as many different things with people so that I will touch somebody and have them look for it instead of looking for something else first. You know, I really think that it's beneficial. So I'll do corporates. I do group corporates, and I do individual corporates, do it on location there. I will do them in my office. I will do, you know, individuals, and then I will go, like I said, to Manhattan or to Long Island and do sometimes classes. I have a friend that has a wellness center there. Sometimes I do classes, and sometimes I do individuals.
Now, I notice you also do, according to this, Reiki?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you teach that as well as do it?
Yes, I do. That's something that I really love to do, actually. I do have full-day programs where I will teach people how to use it, and I really get to work with them. I only do that, unfortunately, in Honesdale, Pennsylvania, but I get to, you know, work with small groups to teach them how to do healings for one another. I have great success with that, and sometimes we even will do both things in a day, depending upon the person.
So what do you do the most of, do you think, on a normal week? Hypnosis or Reiki?
Hypnosis, actually. You know, depending upon who calls and what they're looking for. There definitely is a crossover. They learn more about it by coming here, but they really call mostly for hypnosis.
Now, did you do hypnosis before Reiki? Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Isn't that funny? I did Reiki 1 and 2 first, and I did hypnosis, and then I became a master teacher. So hypnosis actually has the first, as far as me teaching it and me sharing it with others. So, you know, but I was already into Reiki and understood a lot more about, you know, that.
Okay, now the question everybody likes to ask, what madness possessed you to get into hypnosis?
Well, directly, yes, I know. And where it consumes your entire life, yes, I know. It really is something fabulous. You know, I mentioned before that I really wanted everybody to experience it because my quality of life at a certain point, when it should have been fabulous, I had 2 small children, wasn't as good because I had severe anxiety. You know, it limited what I did and how I did it. Sometimes I was great, sometimes I was just forget it. And I didn't really understand myself. So I was always someone that was very health conscious, didn't like to take a lot of medication or anything like that. And I looked for ways in which to control it and in which to make it better, improve it, and improve my life. And hypnosis was the thing that I found. And I was able to control it and understand myself a lot better and work, in my own best interests. So I really wanted to share that with people so they can do it too. And if that doesn't take them where they want to go, and most of the time it does, but if that doesn't take them where they want to go, at least it's a great first try. Going back though, when my son was only 2, and he's about 29 now, when my son was 2 years old, he had severe ear infections where he just was debilitated and just sat on my lap until we got him to the doctor. He just wouldn't leave my side. And we tried so many things with him, and they did cause him some relief, but it never really solved the problem. And we looked at a chiropractor friend, and we went in there, and to get off topic, but it is on topic, and he was able to actually end that with manipulation of his ears. So I was really open to the holistic field and understood that, hey, there's something, a lot more things here than just going to the doctor,
Great. So you started around then? We're talking when your son was like around 2?
I would say that that's around when I started looking and searching for things and finding Reiki, and a little bit more after that. I experienced, like I said, severe anxiety when they were little, and then I looked for hypnosis for myself, and then ultimately wanted to share it with everyone because I was surprised at how much of an impact it had on my life and the quality of my life.
So as a kind of timeline showing what you did for like other practitioners that want to get into the business and they're looking at what you did, how did you start out? I mean, kind of like an office in your home. Did you get an office right away? From then to here, what was your like metamorphosis, do you think?
Well, I was still in my class when I took a storefront in actually Huntington, New York, a very small storefront, and I paired it with some items that could sell. And I started there. And then I made the jump to, after that, to a chiropractic office, actually, and paired with him for a little while before I moved to Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, I used to have 2 offices, but the driving back and forth was too much. I spent too much time there. So I do have a home office, which I enjoy very much because I'm able to see more people. As far as Long Island, like I said, I have a friend who I share some space with, and then there's a wellness center in Manhattan that I work out of. Not always easy to secure the space, but you have to look for the right one for you.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar to what you did, Rene.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things we, here I am, that's one of the things we like to try to teach our people is you don't have to always get your own office and put up a shingle. You can share offices. Years ago, 100 years ago when I started, I was actually sharing offices with a, allergist. And he had actually several offices, one here in Biddeford in a big medical park, and one in Sanford. So I rented with both of those and had an office out of my home, so it was 3 different towns. And you don't even need to have an empty room. In Sanford, he did have an additional room, so I put a desk up, and the days that he was off, I went in. But in his main office, he didn't have any extra room, so the day that he was off, I used his office. And it'd be funny, every Tuesday I'd go walking in with a boombox under this arm and my scripts under this arm. I'd go in, take over his office, have his secretary, sit at his mahogany desk with my feet up on the desk, beautiful office with, MD pictures, diplomas, and nice picture of his family. People come in and say, hey, nice family. Now, he was a Jewish rabbi with a big beard, but nobody noticed, the They thought I was him, long color hair and everything, you know. So I said, "Thank you. Yeah, they're great." You know. So it can be good sharing an office.
It's been some of the great experiences for me to share and to interact with others. So there's a benefit to that. Sometimes just yourself is not as much fun, but definitely if they're starting out, they really should go with someone and, you know, get their feet wet and understand, you know, what they want to do.
Great
Definitely.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since you're in Manhattan, I got to ask, who's the most famous, well-known people you've dealt with, or maybe the most interesting?
I really can't tell you that.
Well, what type? Maybe not the name, but what type of people? Movie stars?
More like businessmen who have aspirations for, let's see, a lot of public, you know, interviews and things like that, and to grow themselves. Really, some wonderful people. A couple of sports figures. You know, but mostly, you know, everyone, you know, just regular people. But occasionally we will get a phone call for them. Yeah.
I see how you're being very protective, and that's okay because Donald Trump was also protective when I asked him about you. Oops.
Oh, good.
Now, one of the things you mentioned is do you do an awful lot with corporate hypnosis? Is that one of the larger parts you deal with?
I'm going to say I really enjoy the individuals and the teaching, so I end up doing more of that. There's definitely a market to do more. I get some good phone calls, but I could reach out more. I do like going into corporations because there's just such an energy most of the time there when they get to talk to one another and, like, you know, talk about it. Hey, my friend stopped smoking that way. My sister had this experience. And so it really gets the ball rolling and kind of puts it in a comfortable place. So it takes, like, some of the anxiety, worry about, you know, what is hypnosis before I explain it, out of it. And it's kind of more something that they're looking forward to. So it really, you know, is a positive environment for me. I like going.
Now, with the corporations, again, a lot of the people watching this are going to be practitioners, and we're always trying to find ways to make more money. How do you find is the best way to contact, or how have you contacted corporations for marketing?
Most of the time, I will speak directly to the human resource director or the owners who are looking for holistic ways to improve their workers, their work environment. You know, one that I can think of right now, a very health-conscious president of a company was really looking to get people to stop you know, congregating outside and smoking. He really thought that it really, you know, was, you know, of course, something that was taking away from everything, including their work. And they were so focused on those smoke breaks. And he really thought that there was a better way and they could be healthier and happier and find a different way to do things. So it's really a positive thing once you get them on board talking to the human resource person or one of the executives. They really, you know, love having the opportunity for people to be, you know, helped as far as self-improvement. The downside is once in a while with, you know, people that are together, one could take down another as well. So you want to keep, you know, a real positive flow going and encourage them to kind of talk to you when they have a corporate environment. That's been my experience.
With contacting the corporations, then, do you think the most successful, or the way you've done your initial contact, be on the phone calling them, or has it been by mail, or what?
I've done all of those things. I've done by mail. I've done in person. I've done calling them. It depends on my availability, where I am, if I get a lead. You know, if somebody mentions something, if I see something, and, you know, what's going on. Of course, if it's somebody in Manhattan and I happen to be in Honesdale, which I am right now, then I would end up calling them. But I've done all of those things, and I follow up all the time. With this kind of business, if you're not reaching out all the time and, following up, you really, won't have as successful a business.
Do you find that most larger corporations have like a budget for this kind of thing, human resources, or are they looking for this kind of help, or is it something that you really have to let them know that they want it?
It depends on the knowledge of the human resource person. That's why I like that person, because they are looking for things to do with their employees that will better them, that will, make it feel like a cohesive unit. So it ends up that those are the people that are schooled in understanding that kind of thing, self-improvement, working with others. Forgot the question. I'm so sorry.
There's two of us. I didn't write that one down. It was just something I asked on the plane.
Okay. I was concerned with the computer and where it was. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, for those of you watching, okay, Tina's experiencing an earthquake right now. That's why her camera's going. No, actually, I had her move it because we had so much light that she's balancing it on her kneecaps. We're not going to let. Oh, was that my outside voice?
That was your outside voice. Yes, it
was. That was my outside voice again. Oh, the voices. Can you help me with that with hypnosis, Tina?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Great. Now, aside from smoking, what other kind of things are popular that you see corporations like?
Mostly, they do stress, smoking, and weight. That's what they're mostly interested in. And smoking is one of the bigger ones, which you probably experience yourself. Mm-hmm. But smoking is one of the bigger ones. It really does affect a lot of things in the workplace, and not to mention insurance and things like that. So the best place to make improvements is right there. And often, if I could, and I think this goes back to what we were talking about before, often you ask me about the budget of a corporation. It depends on the corporation when I go talk to them. Sometimes they have a budget. Sometimes, even if they have a budget, they want the employee to kick in for it, so it really means something to them. So they'll maybe we'll pay half and half. Sometimes the corporation picks up the whole thing. Sometimes they offer a discount to the employees. They do it in different ways, and I think that's wonderful because they're working with the people and they're more motivated because they're attached to paying for some of it themselves, and they want to get the value from it. So depends on, like I said, the corporation and what we're talking about. Although they have a budget for things like that, there is sometimes a requirement to kick in for it.
So most of the time they pay. Great.
Yeah.
We just did a webinar last night, little plug, a webinar on group, conducting group sessions. That's one of the biggest things I push, is that if the employees don't pay anything, it's kind of like they'll leave and they'll go to smoke a cigarette and they go, we'll just get another day off later,
Right, exactly.
But if they say that's going to cost me $50, they're going to try a little harder.
Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
Let me see. So what do you think it takes, key things that it takes to be successful in business for those watching in this business?
Well, you have to always keep positive. There are ebbs and, ups and downs, and there's a slow time all the time. You have to make use of that. It's not just time off and, you don't understand why your phone is ringing and you're sitting in your office. You have to make contacts. You have to always be marketing yourself. I don't want to say reinvent the wheel, but you want to find like the trends and kind of go with it. What are people looking at? For a time there was a lot of, visualization, things like self-hypnosis, of course, would be a great thing. There's visualization. I'm trying to think of one, and I can't believe can't think of it, but the law of attraction and things like that. So if you're using your same hypnosis services, but if you look at what people are looking at right now and what's popular, you can word it so that they would come to a class, or they might be more interested in something that you're doing.
You're probably looking for the word guided imagery.
Yes,
that's one of the big
that's
ones.
one of them.
Yeah, sometimes you have to bottle it differently.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it changes, which you well know.
Okay, great. So you do corporations is a big part of it, and you said the other big part is just regular clients coming in for normal,
yes,
everyday wear and tear?
I love the one-on-one experience all the time. I probably, I love it more than they do, but because I love them coming in and making the connection with them, and working on the thing that they want to. And I've met a lot of great people who are very motivated to make positive changes in their life, and it's my pleasure.
Now, getting away from the corporation, I'm still looking at, I have the hat on of a practitioner. Your normal practice, what's your best advertising there, or the majority of what you do for advertising?
Well, I would say there's a holistic magazine that I put my ad in consistently, and that's something very important with advertising, consistency. But that's a specialized magazine that they will look for some of the services that I provide. So that has been one of the best things for me in this particular area. Yes. And that's not often print advertising, I know, but that's been one of the best things to drive them in. But mostly it's me going and making connections with people, knowing that I do it, getting out there. I volunteer in a hospital and do Reiki, once a week. I get to meet people like-minded that want to know about it. I'm involved in a women's club. I have a couple of things that I do in the community that get the word out there, word of mouth, and my print advertising mostly. Oh, and of course, I have a website, and I do email as well.
Yeah, I think the website goes great for things that aren't so much local as well. I don't know, does a website really help you a lot with the local people?
More people look at it than I thought. The people that do use the computer, they do look at it before they contact me because they want to feel more comfortable. They'll say to me, "I looked at this 5 times before I called you." So it's a nice thing to have. It's really more beneficial than people realize because it's your face. The first thing they do before they're comfortable calling you, they will look at it and kind of get comfortable with your services and kind of get a grasp of who you are and what you do.
I've had them say, gee, when they pick up the phone, they say, gee, it sounds just like you. I've watched all your videos. It's like, I hope it's I made them.
Yeah, it's great. I make my own recordings, of course, for my phone, like right now, is forwarded to that. And even that, they'll say to me, I called and I was surprised that it was you, but they knew it was me before even talking to me. Don't ask me how that happens, but I don't know if they put the voice with the face, but yeah, they really get comfortable, and I've watched enough of your videos. I know, yes, I know what they're talking about, and they're great fun when you teach too. So
great. Well, as everyone knows, they could see another person down there in the corner. So I'm going to turn it over to Raluca. She's been taking notes, hopefully, and I think she has some questions for you. If she doesn't,
great.
She'll be embarrassed right now.
I think she's going to be great.
There you go.
Hi, Tina.
Hi.
I thought everything that you said was wonderful, and I don't really quite have the question as what I noticed, what you said that was very important is how you are in front of people all the time. And I think a lot of people getting in this business forget about the fact that you can't just put an ad in the paper and wait for the people to come to your office. You have to go out there And do it.
Get them. Oh, I think that is the most important thing, because I did do that. I mentioned that I was in New York first. I did do that. I had the expectation that if I put the sign out, they're just going to come, and that's not exactly the way it happened.
No.
You know, getting out there, doing the different workshops and things like that really got me out there. But really letting them know me and know what hypnosis is a little bit really helped. Getting out there is it. My downtimes I use to go, speak to everybody, and it doesn't always have to be just business related, because when I talk to them, that is going to come out. I even have a knitting group that is a place where I get, believe it or not, where I get people from.
That's right.
The good old knitting group. We all have one.
It's the truth. I'm getting better too, okay? With their help.
Was that it, Luke?
Yeah, no, I have one question. What was the most fun session that you have ever done?
There's so many. That's a good question. There are so many, but I really get into, working with them and, feeling like I understand them, and I hope they feel that I understand what they're talking about with anxiety and things. But when they make a big change in a short period of time, and with hypnosis that's possible, when they make a big when it has such a big impact that you can't help but notice, I definitely think that's one of my most fun ones, and one that comes to mind, and there's so many, I have them running through my head, was a 16-year-old girl who had a terrible time socially, and with some jealousy and things that were really clogging up the joy of being 16 years old. And her mother faithfully sat by her side, and I got to experience their family life a little bit more. Pretty much they worked together. She listened with her daughter every night, and she almost actually fell off the chair while we were doing hypnosis because they both got so good. But I saw a metamorphosis from no joy and kind of negative thoughts to positive in such a short period of time, and it totally impacted both of them, and I'm sure their families. So I think that was one of the most fun ones that I had. I had a good time with those people. Very good time.
See,
That's
I thought
wonderful.
you were going to talk about somebody running for president. Oops, did I say that again? Go ahead, Raluca. Sorry.
No, I just thought it was wonderful, and I just think that it's just so rewarding to hear this. It
really is. It really is, to see the difference that it makes. In them, to see a 16-year-old girl kind of bopping up to her next visit because she's been faithfully listening to the hypnosis and really working on it, and have a complete change of, what she's feeling and thinking to something more positive is just so rewarding. And the mother, just being a big part of it was just a lot of wonderful things to see, really.
Now, in a session like that with a 16-year-old, was there coercion for the teenager, or did she want to do it as much as the mother?
I won't let them come if they're kind of forcing them. I do
you know what I'm
a
getting
screening.
at then, okay.
Yeah, I do really a screening beforehand. And although they might be pushing them, I don't want them to be there if they're not into it. So I really, don't let them come if it's somebody else's idea. But if I talk to the young lady and everybody's on board and they want to give it a try, or as I had a young man that was 17 that had difficulty, he's a runner, and he had a bad experience and he just couldn't do it anymore. So when I have these people, I need to talk to them. And even if they're quiet, or shy, as long as they're on board and they're willing to do the things that I ask them to do, it works out really great, really great.
Do you hypnotize the teenagers with the parent in the room, or?
Interestingly enough, it depends on the situation. Most of the time, it's not a problem for me. I don't mind them being in the room. But if it's going to be a problem for the teenager, I do ask the mom to, stay in the other room. Yeah.
You don't worry about the mother saying, "You're doing such a good job. Oh, great."
or something else. Yes. Yeah. I mean, in the case of the 17-year-old runner, he really, really needed to just, let him be able to say anything. And him and his mother are close, but, it really would have been a hindrance instead of a help. And she's right next door, and, it's a good situation. So most of the time, it is with the parent in, unless there's an issue.
Great. Well, we'd love to thank you for joining us. And before you run off, I'm sure there's a lot of people, especially in your area, maybe even further, would like to know how to get a hold of you. So what's the best contact methods for people to get a hold of you for sessions, for training, for anything like that?
Well, I get plenty of knocks on my door, believe it or not. Or sometimes if I come back from the store, I'll have a note on the door, which is some really fun stuff. But online, you can reach me at ScrantonHypnosis.com because that's the largest major city here. ScrantonHypnosis.com or 570-352-3048. I think I've said it a few times.
And you also have an 800 number. Does that go to one of the other offices, or?
That is that gets me every time. They're all forwarded to me. So any number that you call from that website will get me. If I'm busy, I will call you back.
And we're also, for those of you watching, we're also going to have Tina's contact information, depending on where this is posted, either below the video, on the side, above, because, of course, different venues have different places for posting things, so that will be there. So I'd like to thank you for joining us.
I'd like to thank you both for having me. Thank you.
This was fun.
Yes, absolutely.
And everyone out there, thanks. Oops, here I am. Everyone out there, thanks for watching, and come visit us next time. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.